Usually when you track a highly anticipated release, whether that's, a blockbuster movie or a revolutionary piece of tech or a new console, there's this expectation of a slow, controlled drip of information.
Right, like a leaky faucet.
Exactly. Picture a leaky faucet. You get a drop of news on a Monday, maybe another drop on a Thursday, and you can easily catch it all in a cup. It's manageable, right?
Yeah, totally.
A curated, easily digestible trickle. But then you step into the world of the next Grand Theft Auto, and suddenly that faucet is a blown fire hydrant.
That is a very accurate way to put it.
I mean, you are looking at a landscape of information that is honestly an absolute avalanche.
It's the absolute definition of informational whiplash. Because, we went from a 13-year drought of complete and total silence from the developers to suddenly this tidal wave of confirmed data.
Yeah.
Deeply technical mechanical showcases, structural leaks that basically outline almost every single facet of the game's architecture. It's a lot to process for anyone not actively working in game development.
And that is exactly why we are dedicating this entire deep dive to you today, because our mission is to cut straight through that deafening noise.
We have to.
Right. We are taking this massive mountain of data and organizing it into a clear, actionable roadmap. So by the time we are done here, you will know exactly what is coming on that locked-in date of November 19th, 2026.
And we're going to contrast how this massive simulation will actually play on standard hardware versus, the new PS5 Pro.
Yes. And we're going to explore the staggering, frankly intimidating depth of the state of Leonida.
Because to really understand what we're dealing with here, you have to comprehend the sheer unprecedented scale of this project.
It's massive.
This is no longer just another software release. This is a cultural seismic event.
Yeah.
Originally, it was operating under the internal code name Project Americas. And this title has a rumored development and marketing budget sitting between $1 and $2 billion.
Billion. With a B.
With a B.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put that in perspective, that dwarfs the budget of the most expensive Hollywood blockbuster ever made by, a factor of 3.
That's insane.
Right. And industry analysts are projecting it to sell 40 million units in its first year alone. We are talking about the biggest entertainment launch in human history.
A $2 billion budget implies an infrastructure that most, tech startups would envy.
Oh, absolutely.
But, okay, let's unpack this. Because before you can even attempt to survive in the neon streets of Vice City or the swamps of the Grass Rivers, you need to know exactly how you are going to play it.
Exactly.
And more importantly, you need to know what machine is actually going to be capable of handling the sheer weight of this simulation. So let's break down these release logistics and the hardware divide, starting with the calendar, because November 19th is locked.
November 19th, 2026 is the day the industry effectively freezes.
Yeah.
It is launching simultaneously on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Now, for the PC players listening, history and current technical roadmaps dictate you'll be waiting anywhere from 6 to 18 months later for a bespoke PC port.
Which is pretty standard, right?
It's very standard. The developers prioritize console optimization first because the hardware environment is uniform, unlike the, infinite variations of PC builds.
Right. And the pricing structure is also firmly set at $80 for the standard edition and $100 for the ultimate edition.
But there's a massive catch here.
Yes, the physical copies, we absolutely need to make sure you are aware of this.
Yeah, this is huge.
If you are planning to go to a store and buy a plastic case to put on your shelf, that physical edition is entirely discless.
Let me repeat that. Discless.
You are basically paying for a box that contains a slip of paper with a download code.
And this fundamentally changes the launch day strategy for anyone who wants to play on day one.
Yeah.
Because the file size of this world is going to be incredibly massive. We are anticipating well over 200 gigabytes based on the texture fidelity alone.
Oh, wow.
So that preload date of November 12th becomes absolutely critical. If you buy a physical box on the 19th, drive home, and type in that code, you're going to be watching a progress bar slowly crawl across your screen while the rest of the world is already playing.
Already exploring the map. Yeah, missing launch day because you are staring at a download screen is a rookie mistake you definitely want to avoid. You have to secure the digital license early to preload those encrypted files.
Oh, definitely.
But let's talk about the actual hardware reality here, because we are looking at standard consoles versus the recently launched PS5 Pro, and the gap in performance is pretty significant. I'm seeing reports that base consoles are locked at 30 frames per second,
Yeah, they are.
which, I mean, that seems like a tough pill to swallow in 2026.
It does, but it comes down to the intense computational demands of what Rockstar has engineered. Because of the incredibly complex overlapping AI systems and the dynamic real-time physics, which we will dissect in detail later, the standard PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X are going to target 30 frames per second.
And that's a hard cap.
That is a hard cap.
I can already hear the collective groan from players who just, absolutely refuse to play anything under 60 FPS.
I know, but then you look at the PS5 Pro's capabilities.
Right.
The PS5 Pro has been engineered from day one for this exact scenario. It features a dedicated 60 FPS performance mode.
Oh, that's huge.
But it doesn't just stop at doubling the frame rate. It maximizes hardware-accelerated ray tracing performance and features ray-traced global illumination.
Okay, wait, break that down for a second, because ray trace global illumination sounds like, typical marketing jargon. What is actually happening inside the console to make that look different from the base version?
Okay, so in a standard game on base hardware, light and shadows are often baked in.
Baked in.
Yeah, developers essentially paint shadows onto the textures so the console doesn't have to constantly think about them.
Oh, gotcha.
Ray-traced global illumination, however, means the console is actively shooting millions of invisible light rays from light sources like, say, a virtual sun or a neon sign in real time.
Real-time calculation.
Exactly. It calculates how those rays bounce off a red car, pick up that red hue, and reflect onto a wet asphalt street.
Wow.
It creates a photorealistic lighting environment that constantly shifts as the time of day changes. And the PS5 Pro manages to do this mathematically intense light calculation while maintaining that buttery smooth 60 frames per second.
Sony clearly knows what a system seller this is, considering their massive Plays Best on PS5 partnership.
Absolutely.
And a huge part of that partnership isn't just the visual fidelity, right? It's the physical interaction with the DualSense controller and the Tempest 3D audio engine.
Yes. The immersion truly deepens when you incorporate the haptic feedback. The DualSense adaptive triggers use these tiny motorized gears inside the controller to provide dynamic physical resistance against your fingers.
Okay.
And this resistance actively changes based on your in-game environment. So imagine driving a heavy mud-caked truck through the swamps of the Grass Rivers.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
The triggers will literally push back, forcing you to squeeze harder, simulating the heavy resistance of the mud.
So it's translating the physics engine directly into mechanical tension in your hands.
Precisely. Then let's say you step out of that truck and fire a heavy revolver. The trigger tension instantly snaps to mimic the heavy two-stage mechanical pull of a hammer pulling back.
That is wild.
And then add to that the highly specific haptic vibrations routed directly through the controller's internal speaker. You don't just hear the gunshot on your TV. You feel the mechanical click and pop right in your palms.
That kind of tactile feedback combined with the Tempest 3D audio setup just sounds incredible. But how does Tempest actually differ from a standard surround sound setup you might have in your living room?
Right, so Tempest 3D audio uses what is known as head-related transfer functions, or HRTFs.
HRTF?
Yeah, it basically calculates exactly how sound waves would bounce off the unique shape of a human ear before entering the ear canal.
Wait, really? It's that detailed?
It is. This tricks your brain into perceiving a fuller spherical sense of space. So if you are hiding in an alley, you won't just hear a generic police siren getting louder. The Tempest engine allows you to pinpoint exactly which city block they are coming from, hear the sound realistically bounce off the brick walls around you, and know instantly if a police helicopter is hovering slightly behind and, say, 30 degrees to the left of your physical position.
That is terrifying and awesome.
Out in the wild, you will hear the specific rustle of an alligator in the reeds and know its exact distance and vector.
Okay, so it's like buying a luxury sports car. You can drive it on a standard city street, which is the base PS5 or Xbox Series X at 30 miles an hour, and it's fine, it's a reliable ride.
Sure.
But the PS5 Pro is the custom-built racetrack that actually lets you open the engine up.
That's a perfect way to put it.
But let me ask you this. With the sheer amount of simulation happening in the background, is that 30 FPS lock on the base consoles simply a limitation of the graphics card not being strong enough to draw the pictures, or is something else bottlenecking the system?
It is entirely a CPU bottleneck.
Really?
Yeah. What the hardware is being asked to render isn't just a static map or a pretty picture. It's a living, breathing ecosystem designed to actively trick the player's brain into believing it's real.
Right.
The CPU The brain of the console is tasked with calculating the daily routines of thousands of NPCs simultaneously, computing the physics of water displacement as a boat moves through waves, and calculating how the wind affects individual leaves on trees.
Just